I made about $110,000 last year. I am on track to, I think, do even better than that this year and probably make about $160K. I usually make about $1,000 to $1,500 a month from my online shop. The bare minimum that I make from sponsorships every single month is about $4,000. I am far less concerned about AI ruining my profit margins, and I am more concerned about AI killing me and everyone that I love.
Kelsey Rodriguez is an oil painter who will make over $150,000 this year from her YouTube channel. I spoke to her about art, business, and turning your passion into a full-time job. Kelsey, good to meet you.
Yeah, hey Pete, it's nice to meet you too.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time. I've been following your channel for a while. And I guess what fascinates me about your story is that you really embody this idea of turning your passion into a living. So I guess where I want to start is all the way back at the start. What is your origin story? How did you come to art? Did you start there or did you start somewhere else?
Yeah, so I started my channel in May of 2020. I think I uploaded my very first video on May 18th of 2020. And the origin behind that was I was in college. I was pursuing a political science degree. I was writing papers on international conflict and international security studies and foreign policy. And when 2020 hit and the pandemic, of course, happened, all of my internship plans fell through. And so I wasn't able to pursue anything that would actually help me turn political science into a career. And I had always been interested in art and oil painting. And I'd always never really thought that I could turn it into a career, but I'd always wanted to try. And so I figured that 2020 and the kind of empty summer that I had just stretching out before me was a great opportunity to give that a go. And so I tried it. I started making videos. And in the spring of 2022, I was able to go full time. And now we're here.
So when I think about people turning their passion, especially an artistic passion, into a career, it seems that one of the big barriers is just the fear of, leaving an existing job. Can I make money doing this? Everyone tells you can't make money doing this. How did you get over this? And then how do you think about the economics of that? Did you try and have some money saved, or how did you think about that?
Yeah, so I was a college student. And very fortunately, I did not have a ton of expenses going on. I was also working multiple jobs when I first started. So I worked at a tech support kind of job in college. And then I also was a TA for professors. So I helped them teach classes. And all of that coupled with some freelance work, I was a virtual assistant. I was a web designer. I was able to kind of leverage all of those skills. And later on, I was a video editor for other creators. I was able to just kind of have a lot of stuff going on and also make videos on the sidelines. And I think that a lot of artists get really caught up in thinking that they have to have every single income stream they want for their business established right away, when in reality, I think it's really important to start small and grow at a pace that is actually sustainable for you.
So would you advise people to jump straight in, or maybe do it at the weekends and the evenings until they kind of have some momentum?
Yeah, I think it depends on what we're talking about, right? I think if we're talking about someone that wants to be an artist on YouTube, I think that making one video a week is a really good goal to have. And it might be a stretch for a lot of folks, but it does help you build those kind of building block foundational skills of video production. It helps you stay on task. There's some amount of accountability there, but having one video a week go live on YouTube was by far the thing that helps me grow the most and build my business the most. And I think that consistency is very important. But if you have responsibilities in your life that don't allow you to do that, if you have kids that you're taking care of or parents that you're taking care of or other jobs, I would say that you should try and go for maybe twice a month and see how that goes. But this is a thing that is going to require a lot of work and a lot of time spent before you see any return, and consistent effort at whatever pace works for you is the most important thing.
Yeah, consistency is the thing I hear most frequently. If you're doing something every single day, it's hard to get worse at it. You're pretty much going to be one of the best at it if you do it every day.
Yeah.
When you think about YouTube specifically, how long did it take you to get traction? Did you lose hope along the way? And then what did you look at? Did you look at the metrics every week? Did you say, hey, I'm going to try this video? Like, how did you get traction on YouTube? Because it's hard for a lot of people.
Yeah. Oh, man. When I was first starting, Catherine Manning was very big in the kind of the YouTube guru space. She has since switched over to mostly vlog content, but she was a really big role model for me. And I kind of saw this gap in the market there were a lot of artists creating content on YouTube, but no one was trying to kind of translate traditional business and marketing advice for a creative entrepreneur. And so I figured, hey, I have this goal, right? I want to be a full-time artist. What if I talk about my art, but I also share what I am learning as I am learning it? So, the business and marketing knowledge that I'm gaining along the way, what if I mastered those skills and then immediately taught those skills to the person 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps behind me? And that was really kind of the underpinning vision for my channel, and it still is. And I took forever to be consistent at it in 2020. Really tried hard to do 1 video a week, but it was challenging. I had a lot of other stuff going on. But after about a year, I had gained about 800 or so subscribers, maybe 500. And I hit about 1,000, I think, in November. Yeah, November of 2021. And then by spring 2022, I had gone full time. So I went from 1,000 to 100,000 in I think about a year. But it was that first year where it was, you're just grinding with no hope in sight, and it just takes forever.
Yeah, I remember that as a blogger. It took me about 18 months to get I can do this full time. But it took you essentially 2 years. You got to a year, and then it was 2 years before you made it your full-time job. Is that right?
Yeah. So I started in 2020 and then went full time in 2022. So
one of the things that's challenging for people is also time blocking, I guess it's called. How do you allocate time for, it's important to me to make a YouTube video, and then because it's one of those things that maybe it could fall through the cracks, you could have other things going on, but also art. How do you make time for the art part? And do you have a calendar? Do you say, hey, in advance I'm going to do art this day, or is it how you feel about it? How do you make sure you do all the things?
Yeah, man, I'm really bad at this. I'm going to tell you the truth. I don't plan out my week like that at all. Usually what I have is 1 goal for the day if I'm being especially productive, or a couple of things that I have to do at some point in the week. And I'm really grateful to work with sponsors. They hold me accountable in the best way possible, and it's a really important income stream for my business as well. But what I usually do is try and make sure that my content, so the videos that I'm actually producing, help me pursue my art goals. So maybe that looks like making a video on how I learn from art books, or maybe it looks like, okay, today I am going to try really hard and do a couple pieces that help me learn more about color theory. But I try and use my content, which is a thing that I already have to do anyway for my business and sponsors and, advertising my products. But I try and have that feed into my art goals and have that be an accountability mechanism essentially for my business.
Do you think social pressure works at all? Because I've been doing creative writing, and I've had a real trouble fitting in the time. So I got a coach who just bugs me on WhatsApp, hey, did you write this weekend? Did you do it? And you were saying that your sponsors kind of keep you honest in that way. Hey, I've got a sponsor video coming out, I've got to make it, which means I need to paint this week, and then I need to record a video about it. Is that a hack that works for you? Is creating?
Oh yeah. Oh my God, that works great. Yeah. I feel like I would not be full time if I did not have that, or at least there is a certain level of financial stability and comfort that I have now in my business, and I feel like I was a lot hungrier before I went full time. And a lot of my most popular videos ever were made right before I went full time, because I was so stressed out about money, and I was so kind of hungry for success on YouTube. And now that I have that, I have a lot more of laziness going on to deal with, and having those sponsors to hold me accountable has been extraordinarily helpful. And also having benchmarks that I have to meet for contract renewals is also really helpful.
So let's talk about money then, because I think that is what's really interesting about your business and about your channel, is that you have a business mind, and you're comfortable talking about the revenue side of art, but you're also a great creator and artist. So yeah, let's what's your top line revenue? How does it break down? Let's go from there.
Yeah. I mean, I think the taboo around money just it does a disservice to the art community. And so I try to be as transparent as possible when it comes to finances. But yeah, let's go over it. I made about $110,000 last year. I am on track to, I think, do even better than that this year and probably make about 150, 160K. But it depends on a couple of different things. I have a bunch of income streams. The first one is my online shop. This is sales of my art, my prints, merch, digital products. I have been really bad about mentioning this and marketing this. So the number is kind of low, but to kind of reframe that, it's also my most passive income stream probably. So at any point I could grow that if I wanted to by just talking about it more, but I am bad at my job. I usually make about $1,000 to $1,500 a month from my online shop. So that's part of it. The next thing on my income stream list is coaching. This is a new thing that I'm offering for my business. I currently have 2 packages. One is a 3-month mentorship for $2,000, and the other one is a 1-week intensive for $600. This is kind of early bird pricing for me. It's pretty affordable for my audience, but last week, I signed my first 3-month mentorship client and they paid in full. It looks like I'm going to sign another one this week, which is very exciting. And so that's going to be, between $600 to $4,000 a month in terms of revenue from that. And on YouTube AdSense, this fluctuates a lot. So I, of course, make money from my videos and I talk about art and entrepreneurship, which commands a little bit of a higher CPM than something like gaming. So usually from YouTube AdSense, like in April, I made about $1,600, which is the lowest that it's been in 9 months. But in January, I made about $3,800. So it fluctuates a lot, which means that it is not a thing that I can count on reliably. It's not very consistent or stable, but it is a good chunk of cash for sure. But by far, the biggest piece of the pie is sponsorships. So I am very grateful to have sponsors that I work with on a regular basis. The bare minimum that I make from sponsorships every single month is about $4,000. So that can start at 4K. It can also sometimes go up to 7K or 6K, depending on, where brands are interested, what my availability is like. Right now, I'm basically booked until December, just because I have more demand than I can accommodate. So my prices are going up as a result. Classic supply and demand issue. But yeah, so that's about 4 to 7K in monthly revenue. And then the last thing that I have going on is affiliate marketing. This is a very small piece of the pie for me. The affiliate relationships that I have usually pay out quarterly. So last month I got an affiliate payout for 6 months of affiliate marketing for one online kind of art school that I talk about every so often. That was $1,000. So I guess I probably earned about $150 to $200 a month from affiliate marketing. And that was a lot of numbers. So on kind of the low end, I make about $5,700 a month, but on the high end, I make about $13,000. So the average is usually like kind of close to 10K.
And then how do you see, so it sounds like sponsorships is the majority. How do you see that mix changing over time? It sounds like you're trying to scale up on the mentorship.
There are 2 things that I really want to grow this year: coaching and, of course, my online shop. It is a little nerve-wracking as a creator to be so beholden to the advertising market and the whims of advertisers and sponsors. So while I, of course, deeply, deeply appreciate the ongoing relationships that I have with brands like Squarespace, for example, it is nerve-wracking for me to be so beholden to that. So I really want to try and be more responsible for my own revenue via mentorship and my online store and see how that goes. I'm currently working on expanding my medium to high ticket product range, so I have more to offer there because I have a ton of people who are super interested in getting coaching from me, but maybe can't afford, $600 or $2,000 worth of an investment. So I am working on a product that will be in the $100 to $150-ish range and see how that performs.
Yeah, I mean, one of the challenges with coaching is it's a scale issue, because I've done coaching, right, and then I've also advised companies that are these coaching startups. And the catch-22, and there were many of them in 2020 or so when everyone was stuck at home, but the catch-22 is you get popular, you only have a certain amount of time, so you keep putting up your prices, but then your clientele can't afford those prices. So then you go to group. You say, I really want to include everyone, so I'm going to do group, and it's going to be 20 people for an hour, and they're going to ask me questions. And then you scale out of that, and then you end up with an on-demand course. Well, maybe you end up with a cohort course first, where you're like, okay, no, I need to be able to get in 100 people, and they can pay me thousands of dollars, and I'll still be able to do one-on-one, and they'll still be able to ask me questions, and it'll be a multi-week course. But then that doesn't scale at some point and kind of burns you out. And then at some point you just end up with okay, I'm going to do an on-demand course. Most of the questions are the same every time. You want to be an artist and you want to have an online presence. I'm going to do a course that most people can afford and that's going to maybe offer 70, 80% of the value without that huge cost of hourly mentorship. But the great thing about the mentorship is that it lets you see which questions people ask. It almost prepares you for creating a course like, aha, every time I do a consult, they ask me the same 10 questions. I'm going to write them all down. I'm going to pre-record them as videos, and then I'm going to put them into a course.
It's like you read my mind. That's exactly my plan.
No, but everyone goes through
plan.
It's just like the journey that everyone goes through is, you start off with more time than money, and then you end up with, I just don't have time now. I'm so out of time. And
and I mean, especially for me, I am also an artist, right? That means I have to spend time making art. That is the foundation of literally everything. I can't be an art business coach if I'm not actually making and selling art. That's not what I want to be in. But it's really important to make sure that I am not spending too much of my time kind of trading my time for money. That is the situation that you have, of course, like a 9-to-5 job, right? And I think the strong advantage of having your own business is that you cannot do that. You can have passive income streams. So my plan is, like you said, to use this mentorship as kind of a learning opportunity to feed into more like passive, done for you, ready to watch kind of courses, or a Notion template, an ebook. I have a workbook already that sells really well for me. That's at only $50. That's my best selling product by far. But how can I make that more and more valuable? Offer, a ton of value and information there and make that worth more money. Like I already have one person that I know that used that workbook that's only $50 with a bunch of Notion templates included. And she went from 0 to 100K on YouTube in less than a year. That's like twice as fast as me, right?
The mentee 3 times as fast, the mentor.
She's great. She's so talented. Sketches of Shay. It's amazing. But so I kind of want to build more testimonials and have more kind of case studies to look at like this, and use all of that research and that experience to build out like the medium to high-ish ticket kind of products that I offer that are not coaching, so that I'm not trading my time for money, like you said.
I saw you did a video about 40 products that you can make as an artist. When you think of the ranking of income streams for art, do you kind of have a ranking there? Is it important to have a mix of those? And then where it seems like you're moving towards the higher margin over time?
Yeah, I think it's definitely really important. I mean, retail sales for a luxury good like art are very seasonal, right? Like the majority of consumer spend happens in Q3 and Q4. If you put all of your eggs in that basket of offering products and having a product-based business, you need to either have products that are more seasonal that will help drive revenue in, Q1 and Q2 and not Q3 and Q4, or you need to be very smart about your financial planning in your business and make sure that Q3 and Q4 can cover the rest of the year for you. For me, I think it's really important to have a balance of everything. And I also want to be able to serve different kinds of audience members. So I have some people that follow me that like my art, and some people that follow me because they like my art and they like, business and marketing advice. And, the obvious third person that just likes business and marketing advice. So I can try to serve all of those target audience members with a product that looks like, having prints that are shipped on, like, that are drop shipped, like made on demand, like merch, stuff like that. And then also having like lower end informational, educational, digital products, and then having, mentorships and courses and stuff. And I think having that balance is really great, because it also means that if for whatever reason I can't do one of those things, I'm not, in the middle of the ocean on a boat without a paddle. I have something to keep me afloat.
And advertising seasonal as well. I remember we used to do like half our revenue in Q4, which is just, and then you go through a recession or something and suddenly it can completely dry up, or people can start paying late. So you want to have that combo of things that are seasonal and things that are more evergreen. It seems like there's something all the way at the top. I can't really think of it right now, but above education, there's almost software or something that essentially helps you with your art, or Although maybe an art is kind of
I'm
like...
working on something like that, but
Okay, that's the top secret upcoming project.
yeah,
Yes,
it's the secret.
As you move up the funnel, what you kind of want in product is stuff that you want to reach as many people as possible and not have additional cost each time you serve someone. So when you send a product, you have additional cost, or when you do mentorship, you have time cost. And so the way to most efficiently serve the most people is to sort of get it as close to software as possible. Like, hey, I put all my knowledge into this thing and you can engage with it. And also you can get recurring revenue with a subscription that way. Or community. I love community these days as well, where it's just people are just really craving that connection. I'm sure in the art world, there's tons of people who are just like, why don't you just form a community? And I'd love to like pay for events and
I mean, I have a
and...
Discord server. It's totally free to join, and it has about 7,000 members. And what I've been doing recently is I have a lot of like SaaS B2B companies that reach out to me that want to sponsor the channel, but maybe don't have the budget for my rates right now because I have that big supply and demand issue that I mentioned earlier. But I can offer kind of a lower end deliverable that looks like, okay, like let's have some of your employees hop on the Discord. Usually it's like the CEO even, and you'll give my audience like a 1-hour demo in the Discord of your product and then have a Q&A session afterwards. And that's been really helpful. And people really seem to enjoy that. Like I had Mozilla come on for like a new thing they're developing, and my audience really loved being able to give them feedback on this early stage product. And it was just really fun for them.
So was that a sponsored opportunity for them?
Yeah, that was a sponsored opportunity.
Wow. I've never heard. That's a crazy good business model. It's like customer feedback on so they wanted to target artists specifically, was it? Or creators? Wow. That is a business model I've not heard about before, but it makes a ton of... It's a focus group, essentially.
Yeah, it's a focus group. Yeah. But the community that's so vibrant that I've made, personal friends on is totally free to join. Costs nothing to run. I have moderators that are, active members of the community. And it's a way for me to have that one-on-one connection with my audience and share, new videos, new products and discounts and stuff. But also kind of, I see myself as a content creator, as a curator of products, and opportunities that my audience would appreciate, right? So when I hear from B2B SaaS manufacturer kind of companies that can provide artists with a lot of value, I try and figure out ways to make my audience aware of those brands because I think they would be helpful for them. And so the Discord server and having events there is another way for me to kind of be a curator in that way.
And you're saying your community is cool with that and engages with that. Is there anything, when you take on sponsors, how do you filter those? Is the more... when you're an artist, is the more sort of filtering of people expecting you to maybe they don't want to be marketed to, or how do you choose sponsors?
Yeah, for the Discord, it's very selective, or I really try and make sure that whoever is going to be presenting that Q&A, that product demo, is there to provide value. And they are not just doing this like marketing session with this focus group. They are trying to get feedback like Mozilla, or they are trying to show someone something really useful that could be applicable even without using their product. But when I pick sponsors more generally, I really, obviously I have enough sponsors now that there's a long like, okay, who views who as competition, who can pay my rates and who can't, who is free, in November and not December. But I really try and find companies that are, valuable manufacturers or B2B SaaS, like small business kind of companies that provide a lot of value for my target audience, or even just like web development, web design, site hosting, domain hosting kind of companies that try and serve the creative entrepreneur or small business owner.
Yeah. What strikes me is that you're so comfortable dealing with, B2B SaaS companies and sponsors and managing those. And your channel has this unusual combo of like Notion templates, organization, and also here's some really cool art. Have you, it seems like you have all the skills in your personality to do both things, right? Organize, do the business side, be an artist. A lot of people don't have that. So first of all, have you had to take on any other people to help you out, or the pieces that you kind of are missing of the picture? And secondly, if people lack that, should they work with an agency to manage their ad sales? Should they bring someone on? Like, how should they deal with the business side?
Yeah, I mean, I do everything in my business. I'm a sick freak. I love negotiating sponsor deals. I know that's not everyone's cup of tea. I think there are a lot of brand management and like influencer management agencies that are really good. I know people that run them. I'm friends with some people that run an influencer agency, and I think they're great. It's just not for me. I like being able to create a custom, individualized pitch to a brand. I enjoy figuring out those deliverables and trying to find unique ways to help them meet their target marketing metrics. And I just enjoy that. But yeah, I think some kind of influencer marketing agency is really great to partner with for a lot of creators. And I'm seeing this trend happen more and more where creators try and find someone to help them leverage their business either on the course side or digital product side, and try and be a creator operator, basically, where they transform a creator's content into a product. I don't need one of those myself personally, but I see a lot of creators finding a lot of value in that in my own life.
I want to switch tracks to distribution because I just saw a video that you did about thinking about adding Instagram. Like, what's your distribution pie chart right now? How much YouTube, how much everything else?
It's like 100% YouTube, basically, which I love. I get a lot of value out of, but that is where I have all of my eggs right now. I have an email list. For what it's worth, I haven't totally slacked off. I have been gradually collecting emails, but I don't actively send emails to that list right now. It's something that I want to get better at, but I'm not currently doing it. The problem with my distribution at the moment is that I don't have a concerted following directly related and interested in my art, my creative output. A lot of the interest that my audience has is for the educational content that I provide. And that I am kind of uniquely skilled at that. And there aren't many creators that do kind of that kind of content on YouTube. So I totally see where that would happen. But as a creative myself, I do want to be able to sell more of my art, more of my prints, more of my, like blankets that I design, products that I put my creative work on. And I think that Instagram could be a really good kind of outlet for that. And so I am exploring adding Instagram to my schedule, but it's just difficult because, again, I do literally everything.
So is the primary goal to get more top of funnel for your stuff? It sounds like no. It sounds like the primary goal is to sort of have a different outlet that's more art focused and not so education focused.
Yeah, that's right. My plan for as far as sales are concerned is to try and sell more in stories on Instagram and talk about maybe limited amounts about my coaching, but mostly focusing on prints, the other products that I offer, originals at some point. I'm offering merch later this year. I haven't talked about that very much. That is a thing that I'm thinking about. And those kind of products, I want to have more of a targeted audience for, and that Instagram could be a really good funnel for that, because there are so many ways that you can put out content on Instagram. I'm going to, focus on reels and stories, but still posts, stuff like that, really important. And I think that it could be a really good place to sell stuff.
Yeah, because what I was going to say before you said that is sort of, one of the motivations potentially to be multi-platform is just the algorithm can change, your videos can disappear, you might not. But obviously, as you add more platforms, it's more work. And there's a bunch of things you can do there. You can hire someone to cut up your videos. There's now AI tools that'll kind of cut up your videos. But if it's specifically on your art, that's a whole... It's almost like a creative expansion for you.
Yeah, exactly. I try and think of each platform as not an opportunity for me to recycle content, but like, how can I make the best content for this platform? Like when I was posting on LinkedIn actually a couple months ago, I wasn't making content for artists. I was trying to gain connections with like brand representatives that do influencer marketing. Like if I want to do more cold outreach, I need to gain respect and the attention of people that work in that field, and they are on LinkedIn. So how can I make native content for LinkedIn that appeals to that target audience that I now have? Stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, because that's how I contact you, because there's not that many people who are creators on LinkedIn and posting frequently. Right. People don't post, so there's not much competition right there on LinkedIn right now. When you think about your distribution, though, I always think email is just the best thing ever, because, I've been through multiple cycles of this, and a lot of media companies are going through Google changing its algorithm now and potentially only showing one result in their little AI box. And this is every single time when they make a change, suddenly as a creator, you're like, oh, I have to change what I'm producing, or, every platform has gone through this. And the thing about email is it's always been consistent.
That's true. Yeah.
I almost think that I know that when people think about email, they're like, I've got to send a whole newsletter. Do you think that people would be open to you just sort of emailing your latest video?
I think you're totally right. I think I am absolutely overthinking this. I think I get really caught up in trying to provide value for a target audience that I forget, these people sign up because they just want to see what I'm up to. They just want to see what I'm doing. And that aside from just the value, the hardest part of being consistent on email marketing for me has just been the fact that I need to sit down and actually write a thing. And I haven't built that habit. Building that habit is going to be really important for me. And I haven't done it yet. But you're totally right. I should just do it. I shouldn't overthink. Maybe I will write an email after we got off this call.
So we talked a little bit about going forward and what you want to do next. What are you most excited about right now?
The thing that I'm most excited about, that I kind of hinted at earlier, but I'm working on a very large Notion template. So I have released Notion templates in the past. And I talked about the workbook that I offer, our YouTuber workbook that kind of guides you through starting a channel and succeeding online. I am working on kind of an artist operating system for everything that you're working on online. So it's going to contain pricing calculators for your creative work. It's going to contain an art inventory database on Notion. It's going to have a content calendar. It's going to have business planning, where you plan out your income streams, and calculate your taxes and do all of this kind of stuff. Obviously, bare minimum for taxes, right? You're just taking 30% and putting that on the side and sending that to your accountant later. But, kind of that financial planning, business planning, kind of accountability system. I have been, I do all of my work in Notion in terms of organizing my life and scheduling tasks out for work and thinking about project management for sponsors, etc. So I have this Notion template workspace that I have just built out for myself. But what I'm working on right now is kind of translating that and creating essentially a course around this Notion template. And that is my goal for a medium ticket product right now. That's what I'm really working on.
There's two things about that that are exciting. One is, you spoke about that you have the ebook. One of the things I've learned is that people do way better when they have one high ticket item that they just keep remarketing, because it takes so much exposure to be convinced. And if you're sold on, okay, Kelsey knows about art, then you're prepared to say, okay, it's $1,000, but I learn everything. If you've been following that channel for 6 months and you really want to commit to it. So that's one thing, but also that could kind of convert to a subscription-based product potentially. I would potentially, as if I were an artist, want to subscribe to, okay, yeah, I have something I can log into and I can do all these things and manage them all online. I can do it from my phone. That could be a great business eventually too.
What I'm thinking about is building that Notion template and then having some kind of secondary database, kind of like a blog, basically. That's how it would be kind of set up on the back end, but a place for me to write down all of the experiments that I'm doing in my business, all of the resources that I've collected, notes that I've taken from other creators, maybe the research that I do when I'm looking at creators that I admire, how I'm thinking about YouTube and marketing and strategy and all that stuff, and having that be the subscription part of things, and then having the Notion template with all of the built-in video tutorials about it and that kind of packaging for the the workspace, that be the one-time payment.
It seems to me that proprietary data, it's easy for me to say, is the most valuable thing right now for two reasons. One is the open ad-supported web is kind of going away, and two, AI is rising up, and maybe you won't even type in a search and come to a web page and do all those kind of things. And what creators can potentially do is find sources of data. Some creators will have here's the price of all the brand deals in the market right now, or here is, I see car creators being here's all the information about what cars are selling for in certain areas. Do you have access to kind of proprietary data that you can give people access to?
Oh, I mean, I have access to all of my own brand deal pricing, of course. I also work with coaching clients and help them with sponsorship, so I could, potentially share that data. But I think that right now, at least, AI is very bad at making good, competent business choices, on the planning or strategy side of things, right? It just doesn't have like the specific experience that you need to really grow in a market. It has all this very generic advice, but no actual lived experience. So I think that creators will always have a lot of value to offer in this space because of that.
Yeah, I guess what I was meaning on that basis, now I guess we're talking about AI now, which is like I feel like we hit a hot button topic. Everyone's stress level goes up when if you're creating things and then you see AI making stuff, especially these past few weeks with some of the OpenAI news and Scarlett Johansson and stuff. But
oh my God, yeah, don't even get me started on that. All of my housemates are in AI safety.
It's a touchy topic. What I meant by that though is that if AI is going to index everything on the web, then obviously being closed becomes the next thing. And then people they don't have big open websites where they say, here's how to do everything. They start charging a subscription. And then, hey, if the AI bot wants to put that in the search, you can pay us too. But if there's not a business model on the web for selling ads openly, or there's not as much of a business model, then other things start to rise up and you start charging for more things rather than having ads. But okay, let's talk about AI. You opened the can of worms on AI. Like, do you worry about AI in your business? Are you excited about AI? Do you use it? Is it like, what's the artist community saying about it right now?
Yeah, so the artist community is in general very against AI. So I have a lot more of maybe a nuanced take on this, or a different take on this, because my partner works in AI safety, and all of my housemates and all of my friends generally work in AI safety. So this is going to be kind of crazy, but I'm not worried about AI in the short term. In terms of destabilize, that's not where my kind of focus is. I am actually concerned about AI getting to a point where it is not aligned to human values and has the ability to create large scale disruption, both in terms of politics, military, missile silos. I am worried about AI exterminating the human race. And lots of people that work in this field that are very smart, very educated, very experienced are extremely concerned about this. So I would say that I am far less concerned about AI ruining my profit margins, and I am more concerned about AI killing me and everyone that I love.
Right. It's the alignment problem.
Yeah, it is the alignment problem. Yeah.
Where, hey, the aims of humans and the aims of the AI may diverge at some point, and it might decide that we're kind of not useful to whatever goal we've
right. Yeah, the AI doesn't love or hate you, but the matter that you contain can be used for something else.
There's the paperclip problem or something where it's you tell it to make paperclips and then it goes hey, we could use humans to make paperclips, and destroys everyone, and just the world becomes paperclips. Okay, so in a way that goes all the way back to your early education though, and there was political science and that kind of thing that you were studying, right? So kind of it does go all the way around, but within the art community you're not. It's more existential for you. It's not.
Yeah. Or I understand that people are concerned about their immediate future, but I wish that they would look beyond that and be more concerned about the 10, 20, 30 year time frame, because that is when things really start to matter. The market will adjust in the short term, but it is these big possible very dangerous effects that I am more concerned about, that other people should be more concerned about too.
Is it something that we can prevent, or is it something that's almost inevitable in a capitalistic society where if we don't do it, someone else will do it, and the incentives all the way up, right? Right now the incentives are hey, we can make Photoshop a bit better in the art world, or we can automate this task, and then every incremental thing, it sounds great until you get to AGI and misalignment. Do you think it's something we can avoid? Because we avoid it with nukes, right?
Yeah, I think it will require a global coordination effort to stop this problem. But obviously, the advantages that you would get as a defector from that coordination problem in the short to medium term are really strong, right? So you have this very strong incentive for you individually to defect while you want everyone else to cooperate. So I think that's a really difficult situation to be in. I am very glad there are lots of very smart people working on this problem, and I'm happy to support my partner and my housemates and my friends who are very avidly working on this issue in the Bay Area, and I wish them the best of luck because I don't want to die.
Yeah, and potentially it could end up in the same way that we have, nuclear protocols for, hey, having a certain amount of uranium. It could be, hey, if you have a certain amount of compute, then maybe that's, somewhat regulated, and maybe we're not maybe we are all kind of motivated to save humanity.
Yeah, in the short to medium term, like I think that would be very effective is for there to be more regulation on like the chips and the computing equipment required to run and train these kind of models. But now we're getting way out of the scope of
we're way
this
off topic on this. Okay, one last question. How do you have an exit strategy? Let's say in 10 years you go, you know what? I kind of don't want to do YouTube anymore. Like, do you have to have an exit strategy, or just keep pivoting to, hey, actually my interests are different now and I'm going to pivot my channel?
Yeah, I think I do not personally have an exit strategy at this moment. I could see myself making YouTube videos like forever. I acknowledge that for some creators, having that strategy is very important, and they build separate brands. Like, I don't know, Ludwig, for example, has his own media company that makes shows and releases products and holds events, and that is built outside of him. And he has been working very hard to make that not just focus on him, right? Because the creator media company is like an inverted triangle, where we take that creator out from the very bottom, then the whole thing falls apart. So it's really important to kind of have that diversity in your business. But for me right now, I don't really want to scale to a large business. I want to make what's called a lifestyle business, and I want that to feed myself, right? So I want to stay as lean as possible. And that for me means that, you know, I will eventually have to pivot, maybe try new things. Possibly I'll have to get like an MFA or like some higher degree in the future and, you know, teach at a university about art and business. And I'm totally open to doing that. But right now, at least, I want to keep making art and making videos.
Thanks so much, Kelsey. I appreciate it. This has been really insightful.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was great.